Welcome to Architects of Latino Success, the podcast where we spotlight leaders who are shaping industries and inspiring our community. I'm your host, Joe Castillo. Today's guest is an old friend, someone I first knew as a realtor, just like me. But even back then, Danny Hernandez had a bigger vision of how he wanted to make an impact in our community. He's always looked beyond the transaction, focusing instead on how to create opportunity and elevate others around him. That vision led him to the corporate side, where he now serves as Vice President of International for Realty One Group. Danny has become a true trailblazer, showing us all what it looks like to make that transition successful and lead with both purpose and global perspective. He's another incredible NAHREP success story, and one I'm especially proud to share with you today. Ready to get started? Vamos. Danny, thank you for joining Architects of Latino Success. I'm super excited to go through some of these questions with you, interview you, find a little bit more of that secret sauce that has really driven your career from being a top agent to now in the corporate world. I'm really excited about this discussion.
Oh man, first of all, thank you and for allowing me to kind of share my experience with all of you. And second, congratulations to you and your success as well. It's refreshing to see you go up in the organization as when I did it.
That's right. That's right. You were a trailblazer, my friend. So always looking up and always willing to share advice. So super cool to have this discussion with you, and maybe you can share some of that great advice you shared with me out to the general public. But thank you, man. So normally I just get started by asking people about their past, right? How they got started in real estate and kind of what got them interested in NAHREP to begin with.
Oh, well, I started early in the 1989 to be exact.
Don't age yourself. Come on, Danny.
I know. It's crazy. I hate saying that, to be honest with you. But needless to say, I started my career in North Miami Beach in 1989, selling condos in flip-flops, bringing in people from the beach into the condominium project that I worked at that time. But honestly, my story is pretty unique because it has to do a lot with NAHREP and how it culminated in my career. I went to Miami Beach without having a job. I actually just showed up in Miami Beach with a real estate license. And needless to say, I can honestly say that I was in the right moment and at the right time, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
And this particular person really kind of mentored me, took me under his wing, and led me on the path to where I'm at today, to be honest with you. So I'm super excited about that. That's how I really started in real estate.
Well, you mentioned, right place, right time, but I think most people have those opportunities, but they don't take advantage of them. How did you, what allowed you to do that? Or what was that drive that got you to be able to take care of that opportunity?
Well, my opportunity was kind of given to me and I had to just dive in full hard. Like, I didn't know anything. I was 18 at that time. I didn't know anything about real estate. It was my first, encounter in real estate. And this guy, the one thing that he did tell me, he says, I'm going to show you how to make money, but I want you to pass it forward.
Mm.
And before he died, which was about 7 years ago, I got to see him before he passed away. And I reminded him of those words that impacted me in my life. So I'm paying it forward as time goes by. I want to create other leaders. If somebody took care of me, I'm going to pass it on to someone else. But that really kind of opened up the doors to me to real estate. I started really just selling condos, but then eventually I became my own broker. I had several offices throughout the state of Florida. And then just because of this particular person, his name is Arnie Mann, opened up the doors to me for the international, which is really where my passion lies. I remember in 2006, he called me out of the blue out of Miami Beach and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of the Bahamas?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I've heard of the Bahamas." He says, "Have you heard of the Atlantis in the Bahamas?" I said, "No." And he says, "Well, this project, we're taking it on, Turnberry, and I want to make you the sales and marketing director for that particular project." And, it was another blessing in disguise. And that really kind of I was doing okay, but that kind of catapulted me, in the international scene, which really is a benefit for me today.
Well, that's terrific. It seems like an amazing opportunity, but to take that risk, right, of leaving home and going to the Bahamas, actually, it sounds actually pretty good. The more I say it, if I say it out loud, maybe
You
that's
know,
a big risk.
I thought so too, but then at the last year that I was like, get me off this island. I was like, I'm done. But needless to say, it was something that, at a young age, kind of set me on my path.
Yeah.
But then, you always think I got it, like this is something that nobody else has had or nobody else has done. But then there's, King Narp right after that. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Now I can achieve this as well. And it's just one after the other. And then here I'm at Realty One Group.
It's so you mentioned your mentor there talking to you about paying it forward, and I'd like to tie that into NAHREP, right? And so what what finally got you past making money and whatever, and really focusing on paying it forward, and how does NAHREP play into that for you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you remember or were you there at that time. John Quinones was a key speaker in DC, and he was the guy that did that show. What would you do? Back
Yes,
in
I
the day.
remember this.
So I was sitting in the back, and as he was speaking, um, I bent down and I started actually crying. I was like tears were coming down my eyes because it remembered me of my situation when I first started in real estate and how this gentleman helped me. And little to behold, sitting next to me was a lady that I did not know, right? Her name is Susie Wright, which obviously you know who she is,
Yeah.
but I didn't know her at that time. And she goes, "Hey, are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I'm sorry," because I knew a lot of people at NARP, right? But I didn't want anybody to see me that was kind of tears. And I put my head down. And I told her my story, which at that time I'd never told anybody my story of how I got involved in real estate. And she goes, "Wow, that's impactful. I want you to tell it to my staff." And I was like, "Who's your staff?" And sure enough, at that time she was with Rocket Homes and Quicken, which was back in the day. And I developed that relationship, which today I still have that meaningful relationship with her.
No, that's beautiful. So, obviously, NAREP was part of it, but I know you've also been taking leadership roles there within the state of Florida and what have you. So, let's talk about a little bit more about that giving back and how you're passionate about that.
So talking about NARIP, after my successful career in the international scene in the Bahamas, I was now back domestically. And it just so happens I got to meet Daisy Sid because we're in the same town, who was the chapter president at the time of Central Florida. And we became best of friends. And she kind of introduced me to NARP. I was kind of like a little puppy following her, from convention to convention and doing this and networking, which is really something that I never really did, to be honest with you. And it kind of opened up my eyes and says, "Hey, wait a minute, there's something here where I can really embrace and take on and make me on the next level." I always saw these people speaking on stage and being these influencers, and I was like, I want to be that. So
Mm.
really kind of installed in me that I want to do better and I want to be those type of people. And sure enough, thanks to Daisy, which I always will be grateful for that, for introducing me to NARC. I got to be the on the board, be the the local chapter president. Then I obviously got to be on the national board for a short time and be also a coach and kind of grew up with the NARP scene. But what really made a difference for me at NARP was making those meaningful relationships.
Mhm.
NARPs, and I seen this in many episodes of your podcast and people doing reels and videos. It really sets the pace and that environment where you can make that true connection. In real estate, that, and obviously you're a broker, that this is all based upon relationship. You do business with people you like, right? So, I took that to the next level and say, wait a minute, how can I leverage NARIP for my personal benefit? And that's kind of what I did is I made those impactful and meaningful and purposeful relationships I was true to my word, and up to this date, I just texted Susie yesterday, and I said, "Hey, looking forward to seeing you at NAHREP." And it started at NAHREP, this relationship for almost now going on 15 years. So I'm super, super excited. I'm grateful to NAHREP. I always say that I am a product of NAHREP.
Mhm. No, I've heard you say that plenty of times, and it's one of those things that we talk about, NAHREP being kind of a incubator for leaders, and because it gives you that opportunity to take the lead, as you mentioned, at the local chapter level and then at the national level. So can you talk to us a little bit about how do you approach leadership? You know, how do you view it? Is it more as a mentor, or how do you view leadership? And you know, what advice would you give to future leaders out there?
You know, I I I have to be truthful with you. Being a broker for so many years before joining NARP, I thought I knew it all,
Mm,
and I didn't know it all. So the first advice I would say is be humble, because you don't know it all. In this business that we are in, you will never stop learning, right? And that's what I would actually, advocate and teach and preach to not only our agents at Realty One Group, but whoever I speak to, either domestically or internationally, is be humble. But what helped me at NARA was eh, how to deal with different personalities like myself that are broker associates, that are brokers, that have their own brokerages, and I was coaching them, and I was like, well, wait a minute, these are also leaders. So I had to learn how to deal and how to manage those type of relationships. Mind you, all these years of volunteering at MARP, again, it's volunteering. It's You're putting in your heart, you're putting in the work, but you're also it's fulfilling not only for NARP but for them and for the community that those people that you have an impact on will help their communities, right? So that's kind of what helped me be a better leader and a better person, is learning how to deal with those type of individuals, because everybody has different personalities. But then I'm dealing with people, hey, wait a minute, they're also on my level, but how do we achieve the common goal of sustainable Hispanic home ownership at a different level together?
Do you do you view yourself as a mentor? Do you try and put yourself out there as a mentor? You know, is that your viewpoint when it comes to leadership, or is it more do as I do, not as I say? You know, stuff like that. Like, how do you view it?
I don't put myself out there as a mentor, even though a lot of people say that I inspire them as a mentor. I really don't put myself as a mentor out there. I just put myself as a leader that, with an open book, you can always come up to me and have a conversation, because that's how I always approached when I was in their situation or whoever's situation. It's like, hey, we're approachable. We're here to help. We have the same common goal. A lot of people don't realize that what we do, and you know this, Joe, as a broker and your agents, unless you're having a salary, you wake up unemployed every day as a
Mhm.
real estate practitioner. So you got to really think about, this is the hardest job in the whole entire world. I don't care what you'd say. This is the hardest job. So you got to be open. You got to have those honest and open conversations, because if you don't, then how are you going to tell your story? Remember, selling is telling stories. So I'm always willing to share my story, because my story, not only the gentleman that helped me, it impacted my life, but I want to have that same reciprocal with somebody else, impact
Mhm.
somebody else's life, even if it's my story or whatever knowledge I have.
So one of the with you specifically, Danny, that's so interesting is your conversion from, as we mentioned at the beginning, from realtor to now being in the corporate side of things, on the management side of things. So, can you talk to us about that transition and how you went through the process of deciding to make that switch, because it's a big switch and it's things. And I think it's something that many agents maybe confront and they don't follow through with, and because they're just not sure about it. So, just love to hear how you worked through that opportunity for yourself.
I've always was of the mindset when I started NARP is that I want to be able to go to the convention, just not to go to the convention, but I want to be able to either get some bullets out of it and then act on those bullets that I get from NARP. That was A. And then B, you go there purposely to accomplish a relationship. And again, I repeat myself, meaningful relationships where you have a relationship First, the business will come afterwards, and that was my whole mindset is I want to have a relationship with these people. So when you go to NAHREP, and I recommend anybody that's going to NAHREP, make sure that you at least come out of two bullets. You got to go there with purpose. Get whatever knowledge you get, but also get those connections. But don't be afraid to approach somebody and say, "Hey, I see you do this. I see you do that." What I did is every speaker that was at NARP when I in my days when I was on the national and as a chapter president was I whoever I saw on stage, I wanted to make sure that I introduced myself to them because I wanted to be around those particular people. Stuff like that, when you surround yourself with successful people, that stuff rubs off on you. So I was very purposeful when I was going to NARP. And today I'm still purposeful because I'm just not going to go just to go. I want to make sure that I get something in return out of it. But again, NARP offers you that platform, but it's up to you. And that's why I always encourage agents, just don't go to go. Go there to get something and act on that something, if that makes any sense.
So you had that purpose, you had that thought already in mind to transition to the management side, and you leveraged the NAHREP network to do that.
Well, yeah,
But
Joe.
yeah.
I did that. I leveraged, my connections. And sure enough, there was Carmen McCarl, which she really kind of put me on the corporate path.
Mm.
Obviously, you know her too. She was the president of NARP at one time. She gave me an opportunity and to kind of be in the corporate world. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out, but I got to meet somebody else at NARP who was a headhunter. And sure enough, I developed a relationship with that person. And when there was an opportunity at Realty One Group, they used this same headhunter who I actually met at NAHREP, who lives in my neighborhood. And he called me up one day and I wasn't really looking for a job. He was like, "Hey, Danny, Realty One Group is looking for this and that. I think you'd be a perfect fit." I said, "Sure, let's set up a meeting, whatever, let's go." And sure enough, here I am. It was the best decision I've ever made.
That's terrific. It's the power of NAHREP, so as we say, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's why I say I am a product of NARP because everything in my in my career since 2006, and I've been going on this for 36 years. And the majority has been through NARP because of the NARP vision, what the principles, and I installed that into not only my heart but into my daily life, and that's truly put me where I'm at today.
So as a top producing agent, what concerns did you have about moving over to the corporate side, and how did you get over that? Like, what was your thought process to make that transition? Because again, I think it's a big deal for many to move from one side to the other. And so just wondering what your thought process was and how you got through something like that.
It was scary. Let's just say that because I've never worked for anybody in my this job that I
Hey,
have at
you
Realty.
said when you were 18, you were a realtor, right? So
Yes, this is my first job ever, and I'm 59 years old, and this is my first job ever, and it was kind of scary for me. Um, it's gonna sound corny a little bit, but I was actually in Vegas hanging out with Luigi, our common friend, and I received a call from Vinny Tracy, and he says, "Hey, how about this opportunity?" And I saw that the headhunter, his name, kind of referenced you to me, and he gave me a call. And I said to Vinny, "Hey, I'm in Vegas, kind of taking a day off, hanging out with my friends. Can we meet somewhere?" He goes, "Oh, I'm in Vegas as well. Let's meet tomorrow." What a coincidence, right? So sure enough, I go meet with them and I actually decided right there and then that I was going to join NAREP. Uh, and I said, "Hey, I got my friends here. We're all hanging out. We're just having a guys' weekend." And I went back and I saw Luigi and I said, "Luigi, I just got a job." He goes, "What?" He goes, "You crazy? You just got a job?" I said, "Yeah, I went all in. I actually went all in." And I went back home. I sold my business, my book of business, and I dedicated my whole career to Realty One Group. That's because of NARP.
that's great. Having great mentors like Carmen, of course, and seeing that it can be done is important, right? To be able to make a leap like that.
Absolutely. She when she approached me, she was moving on from where she was, which was at that time anywhere, and she was going on to Freddie Mac. And I always will love Carmen because of that. And she says, "Hey, I think you'd be a perfect fit in the corporate world." And she opened my eyes to that. Eventually, I wanted to get there. That was my whole ambition. But the mere fact that she approached me and said, "Hey, this is the path," and it's another person that kind of like I'm like, man, this is a perfect example how real estate really changes lives, Joe.
Yeah, and meeting the right people and being open to hearing advice and listening to them. I think it all matters. It's just like you mentioned, just being humble and being open.
Yes, yes. You know, I enjoy going to NARP because I don't get to see these people on on a daily, weekly, monthly. I only get to see them once or twice in a year. And the good thing about being part of NARP is that you pick off where you left off.
Mhm.
It's like it was like yesterday.
It's family. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
big time.
So you mentioned going all in. Is that the name of your book, of your autobiography? If you were to write one, all in. Just I love asking this question. Just if you were to write a book, what would it be about? Like, what would be the central theme, and what would be the title?
Passing it forward.
Hmm.
That would be the theme
Yeah.
because that's been my story. Somebody took me under their wing, and I'm passing it forward because I made that promise.
Yeah, and I think, as most people know you, and based off this conversation, we know that you're actually following through, and that's something really special, Danny, and I appreciate that about you. And then last but not least, love asking people as well. We kind of talked about it, obviously, but what is that one belief or habit that you have that is unconventional that you think has led to your success? What unconventional habit or belief?
You know, I believe in the power of consistency.
Hmm.
As anybody, we have two voices on our shoulders. One's a bad voice, and then the other one's a good voice. I always felt that the mindset, I don't need anybody to motivate me. I should motivate myself and listen to the good voice. So I really kind of want to inspire myself because if I inspire myself, I'm able to inspire others. So I've trained myself and I kind of follow my own disciplines and my own routines. But being consistent, I think is really the what's really worked for me. And that's kind of what I preach.
It's just and real quick, I mean, how do you get to that consistency? Is there one special thing or that you do on a regular basis to help you stay on the right side of things, so to speak, with the right voice and not the wrong voice?
Well, being consistent, I have it's personal. I have sticky notes all over my house, or
Ah,
mirror, my stick. It's a constant reminder of what you can accomplish, how to motivate myself. I got little quotes. In fact, when I brush my teeth, I'm always seeing a quote in the mirror, and because it stays with you during while you're sleeping, so you wake up with a fresh mind. If you see my house, I don't think there's not a wall that's not painted because there's sticky notes everywhere. It's kind of weird, but it's a constant reminder of keep pushing me who I am. That's how I stay consistent because that keeps me looking at, hey, this is who I am, this is what I need to accomplish, and this is how I'm gonna attack the world today.
I love it, man. Well, it works for you, brother. It works for you. So thank you, man. Thank you so much for taking time today for sharing some personal information here that I know it'll be helpful to others. And man, whatever it takes, post-it notes, whatever it takes, just get it done, right?
Yeah, just get it done. I see like little. If you see, I'm always carrying these notepads. I don't like anything digital. I like everything handwritten. I'm old school. But needless to say, even if you see me at NARA, feel free to approach me, and I'd love to have a conversation with anybody because at the end of the day, we all have something in common, which is serving our communities and creating sustainable home ownership.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.